Welcome to another stage analysis video. It's Sunday the 24th of August 2025. As always, lots to get through. Going to start off with the watchlist stocks, beginning with AS this week. Popped up in the watchlist again as it started to push back through to new highs here. So you can see we've got a structure that's developed over the last 3 months or so, with a spring following the earnings reaction here, back down on the 18th, 19th of August here, then following through on Friday with a strong move to new highs, a new stage 2 continuation attempt. If we look at it on the weekly chart, it's come through into here, AS. So let's zoom in a bit on the chart. You can see that a pattern since the IPO, obviously, of forming, started to have an initial shakeout before following through, starting to move into that early stage 2 advance, pull back in, quite a deep move back into the 30-week moving average before following through and forming this most recent base. So big, powerful tail on that as it follows through on Friday there, and one of the strongest weekly volumes it's had in only the second highest volume since its IPO here. So an interesting position for AS at the moment. If we drop down to the 195-minute chart, the half-day chart here, you can see the range in a little bit more detail. You can see volume that came in around the spring increased, and then following through also was on quite high volume, so more than twice the average volume from on the follow through move. So reasonably powerful move in that at the moment. Next up, we've got CARG, so CARG, which is currently approaching the stage 2 level. We've got lots of stocks on Friday having huge moves. There was, I think, when I run one of the scans I run when I do the watchlist scans, is stocks that have a move of 4% or greater, and I think there was more than 600 stocks in that initial scan. So scaled that back quite a bit on Friday when I was looking through the various stocks, but it was a big day in general for the market, with lots and lots of stocks following through in terms of the market breadth. So I'll go through that in a little bit more detail later in the video when we get to the market breadth section. But back to CARG here. So approaching its stage 2 level, just sitting right underneath that at the moment. So if we just get that up and have a look at the historical chart on this, you can see it's just 0.35% below its stage 2 level at the moment. So it's sort of in this area here as it pushes through. You can see that the range that it's been in over the last few months, and the shakeout move that it had, where it briefly dropped down into stage 4 for 1 week, actually closing below the stage 4 level and then reverse back up. So this is a spring type move in this one as well, coming back. So we come back into the daily. So what we call a spring number 1, where it's had a deep shakeout move. So there's three types of springs. So the 2 and the 3. So each one is gradually weaker. Spring number 3 is when it's only just a tiny dip to the level, whereas a spring number 1 is a deep move below. So what's sometimes called a terminal shakeout. So the deeper it goes, the more that obviously makes sense. But this one is sort of on the borderline of that. Had a deep move down, breakdown, but then failed breakdown and moved back into the range again. So, and then a sign of strength bar here. So we need to see this potentially follow through in order to move into stage 2. But if it does pull in and consolidate here, we've got the 200-day moving average, we've got the 50-day moving average within this range. So ideally, we wouldn't want to see it come back much in below the 200-day. You want to see any dips, then close back above that ideally, and in order to then push through into potential stage 2. So CARG, also an interesting one. DKNG. So this looks better on the weekly chart at the moment, just running since the April reversal moves there. So the April 7th day started to push up, out and through into the early part of stage 2. So it's been grinding its way higher. We come back onto the weekly chart here. You can see the broader structure that's developed on this one over the last year and a half, even in this one, so all the way back to the early part of 2024 here. So started developing back in March 2024 with that initial top. So we've had an up thrust, we've had multiple shakeouts, so shakeout and a test. So you can see that. So initial buying climax, automatic reaction, secondary testing, then a deep secondary test as a failed breakdown. Then we had a failed, obviously, continuation breakout as an up thrust after distribution, rolled back over again, and then we formed another shakeout as a spring move and a test. Now it's forming back into the later part of the range again. So it is in early stage 2 here as it rolls back up again. But from a broader context, if you're looking at it from a much bigger pattern, then obviously this is a broad stage 2 and a broad stage 3. But in terms of the quicker moves, we're into the early part of stage 2 here. We just haven't cleared over this broader resistance yet. But if it does start to break up through here particularly, then that's where it will become obviously much more clear that it's in stage 2. So DKNG back. You can see the stage 2 move gradually grinding its way out here. So a lot of that data is in quite a long way in the past at the moment. So we're a fairly long way above the 200-day moving average at the moment. So 17 to 18% above it.